everybody? We are back with the Growing Pains podcast. First and foremost, I would love to say thank you, everybody, for been showing love on Instagram and liking our stuff. We got a lot of stuff to come.
Yeah, it's been great, man. Growing Pains podcast with 2 T's on Instagram. You guys have been showing love on everything. I think we got like 3,000 views on the videos, and we haven't even put it on an episode yet. So that's love. Hopefully, by the time this episode comes out, we got a couple thousand on everything, on YouTube, Spotify, Apple, all that. But we got a big episode today. I mean, we're going to be talking about, ending the year strong, some things on New Year's resolutions, basically keeping the same trend from the last 2 podcasts, just talking about, some screw-ups, people supporting us, and then we're going to go into some scenarios about, what would you do if you won the lottery, and, and what if money wasn't a factor, things like that. So, I mean, the first thing I got here is, ending the year strong.
Yes.
We're going into December, we're going into the holiday season. A lot of people like to, get laid back and kind of relax. And my thing is, like, this is the best time for you to work hard. Just because, everybody's laid back, everybody's relaxing, everybody's enjoying the holidays, which is great.
You got Christmas presents to buy. It's time to work harder.
Yeah, that's what I mean. So, like, I think, if you're really a hustler and you really want to grind and you really want to grow, this is the best time of the year for you because, look, everybody's laid back, the competition slows up, and that's when you got to put the pedal to the metal. That's my look on it. I don't know what
I know your job's offering OT right about now. I know that's a thing right now.
Yeah, look, I'm salaried, man. I wish I had OT. If I had OT, I'd be working right now. I'd be in the shop right now working. You know what I mean?
Right. But, today and yesterday.
So yeah, I mean, I think it's the perfect time, to get that end of the year. Go into 2024 big. 2024 is going to be a crazy year, man. Election year. Yeah. It's definitely going to be a crazy year. So I think everybody has to kind of gear up. Put in that work the last month of the year and make it happen. One thing I wanted to ask you, I actually wrote this one down. Like your opinions on New Year's resolutions. I know where I stand on it.
Jordan, I never really did New Year's resolutions, man.
I feel you on that, man. That's kind of how I feel about it too.
I know, like, during, like, family time, Thanksgiving and stuff, we always used to go around the table and ask everybody their New Year's resolution. I never really followed up with mine. I'll be honest with you there.
That's 99% of people, I think.
Yeah, and I'm with you on that one for sure.
Like, everybody, that's my outlook on it, is, like, everybody says, oh, I'm going to lose 20 pounds. And, like, it's great to do that, but, look, why do it on New Year's? You know what I mean? Like, I'm turning up right now. Like, if I want to do something, if I want to, like we've been talking about on every podcast, like, if I want to grow, now's the perfect time. Like, why wait for the first? Why do it with everybody else? Like, screw them. Just like, ending the year strong. Get a head start on that. Start your New Year's resolution today.
Do you have a New Year's resolution?
Hell no. My New Year's resolution every year, bro, is my New Year's resolution every day I wake up is like, get better. You know what I mean? Get better, keep growing. So,
keep doing it.
Like I said with that math problem last time, like, I'm getting 1% better every day, 365% better every year.
Yeah.
So
you're killing it.
You know what I mean? Like, let's keep growing. Like, that's how I feel about the New Year's resolutions. I think it's kind of just, I don't know. I think it's a waste of time.
I do too.
Especially because, like you said, like every resolution, I've seen a couple people quit smoking.
Yeah, they follow
like
through.
that.
A couple
you know what
people
I mean?
do.
I think it's a good starting point for you to like quit nicotine or something like that. But if you're trying to like, I'm gonna start working hard January 1st, like. You're out your goddamn mind. You know what I mean?
Start last year, then you ain't going nowhere.
That's like, I'm going to lay back for the next 3 weeks and relax just so I can come. Like, no, you're going to lose.
We start the New Year strong. Yeah, you're already losing right there.
No, I'm starting the holiday season strong because I'm trying to get them Christmas presents. You know what I mean? So, I think you wrote down the next topic, learning from fuck-ups. I think that was you. What do you mean? What do you mean about that? What's some things you learned from, like, mess ups and screw ups?
Learning from a fuck up, huh? They got a saying, loose lips sink ships.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
If you let people in on some of your things that you're working on, I feel like you lose motivation from that.
For sure.
You know,
for sure.
It just from releasing that information to another person, you definitely lose motivation. You know, I don't even know how to explain that really. It's,
Loose lips sink ships.
Yes,
I like
they
that.
do.
I like
Loose
that.
lips, they sink ships.
That's
man.
a good one. That's a good one.
For sure.
I mean, I definitely think learning from screw ups and things like that is big, and I think it don't even have to be your own too. Like I think if you're aware enough to see like the people around you and see what they're doing, and it's better to learn from somebody else's screw ups than your own.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
If you see their repercussions, and if they're not good, you need to learn from that.
Exactly. Like if you see somebody else, you know, failing and not doing good, it's like, why would you follow in those footsteps when
doesn't make any sense?
You could just do the complete opposite and do a 180. Like I watched a podcast, I think it was last night, and they were talking about like the easiest thing for you to do is do a 180 in your life. Like if you're sad and you're upset and you do a 180, the complete opposite of that is happy. You know what I mean? If you're failing and failing and failing, you do a complete 180.
Said anything that's not positive vibes is negative vibes.
That's exactly. That's the complete opposite. So if, like, look, if you're unfit and you're unhealthy, the best thing for you to do is do a 180 and get fit and get healthy. Like it sounds crazy, but it's that easy. You know what I mean? Like it's that easy to change your life. It's just having the strength, having the courage to do it. But no, I mean, learning from people's screw ups, I think learning from other people's screw ups probably the harder of the two, because you learn from your own screw up. You know, you get your hand smacked, it don't feel good.
You know instantly that you fucked up.
But when you just, a lot of people don't have the awareness. Like a lot of people follow people blindly.
Yeah.
And it's like they don't have the awareness of what's going on around them. So if you don't have that awareness, you're not even gonna know when somebody's fucking up. Like you gotta watch around you. So
you do.
You talked about something. It was either the last episode or the episode before that. And I mean, I watched the episode. It ain't out yet. I watched it a couple times. You know what I mean?
So did I.
I've been just fine tuning, you know, how we're talking and, you know, making sure we get better for the fans.
Yes, we're getting better and better every day.
For sure. Z's drinking like half a bottle of alcohol in an episode now. You
gotta loosen up.
It's getting loose for sure.
You gotta loosen up. Let things flow.
Yeah, but you said something about like you could tell your dreams to your family, and they kind of just look at you like you're crazy. And I think like family and friends supporting you is hard to get. And I just want to say, you know, thank you to everybody that's supporting the podcast. Like we said on the intro.
Thank you.
You know, follow us on Instagram at the Growing Pains Podcast with 2 T's.
Yep.
But it's hard to get that support, you know, especially when you just come to somebody with like an idea.
Yeah, absolutely. And I am really appreciative that we've been doing pretty good. The views have been great.
We got a bunch of followers, I think 2 days, and all we've been posting is just some reels and stuff, you know what I mean? And we didn't even post an episode yet.
It's been going great.
And I think it's just crazy because, like, some of the people that are closest to you, like your family, your friends, you know, you can tell them things like this, like, look, I want to start a podcast, you know what I mean? And
I'm going to add a little zest to this real fast.
Yeah, go for it.
Some of my close friends that ain't reposted or like it, I know who you are. That's no good. That's not a good look. That's negative energy.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. I mean, you got to see who's supporting you, and it's like everybody. So listen, like, say we put out a podcast, we get 1 million views. Everybody's gonna want to support us, but like you're saying, like, you know, when you come from the ground up, you remember who was there with you at the ground. You know what I mean? You know who was there with you on the front line.
Absolutely.
So I think that's a big thing. Like, look, who knows where this is going to go? Like we've been saying, we wanted to go to the moon, you know what I mean? But if it does, like, don't come supporting us when we're on the moon, you know what I mean?
Hear none of that once we go up.
Don't come out when it's a good time. Like, come out when it's an all right time, you know what I mean? Like, we're shooting to have great times, but if you're not there through the bad times, like, that's not support. That's just fake support. That's fake love, and I think you can feel that from...
I feel it for sure.
From afar.
I definitely feel it.
From afar. So, like, when your family and friends aren't supporting you, like, what motivates you to keep going? Like, there's a lot of things that motivate people. Money, fame, you know what I mean? Like, all that kind of stuff. But what really motivates you, you know, to keep going?
Me, as a person, what motivates me to keep going, obviously money's one thing for sure.
For sure.
Hate is another thing.
Yeah.
Clearly, I see everybody saying if somebody's hating, you're doing something right.
You're doing great.
You know? So the hate definitely motivates me for sure. Yeah, that's what about you?
I mean, I think it's so I see a lot of people talk, like I watch all this stuff online, all these motivational things and all that. And one thing that I see like a lot of them saying is like their biggest motivation is freedom, which to get freedom, you have to have
that's
money.
A good one. Yeah,
you know what I mean? Like but like obviously like we live in America. We're free. We're free as anybody could be.
That's it, free as it gets.
Yeah, but like to have freedom to say like we're talking about, you know, we got a big podcast episode coming up. We're going to be interviewing somebody that, you know, owns a car dealership. Shout out to them for letting us interview them. We'll release who it is, you know, in the future. But you're talking about, like, you know, driving a G-Wagon and things like that. But true freedom is, like, waking up and saying, I want the G-Wagon. You know what I mean? And, like, right now, I think that's the motivation is, like, waking up and wanting the G-Wagon. You know what I mean? So I think
every day I want that G-Wagon.
So that's, like, a motivation. But I think that all comes from freedom. And the same thing you said, like, money is what's going to get you that freedom.
Yeah, absolutely.
At the end of the day, you got to have...
They say that money doesn't buy happiness. I think that's bullshit.
Yeah.
I think they all lying to everybody.
Yeah, so 50 Cent said, whoever said money can't buy happiness must have been broke.
You damn right must have been.
You know what I mean? So, like, and I see, like, all them quotes, like, like, money might not buy happiness, but I'd rather shed tears in a Rolls Royce than shed tears in a Toyota Corolla.
You're damn right.
You know what I mean? At least you got some stars in the ceiling.
Yeah.
So that's definitely, I think what motivates me, though, is just growth. Like, and I don't know. I catch myself talking about it a lot, and like talk is cheap. You know what I mean? Like
absolutely.
Look, we could get 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 podcasts in. Look, if we got 100, 200 views, I'm gonna keep going. You know what I mean? You got to keep working. You got to have that
consistency is key.
Exactly, and like the motivation is like you said. I hope people are hating. You know what I mean?
I hope it is.
I hope they're hating because we're doing something right. Who's the most influential person in your life? That's a big one.
I'm gonna throw it at you first, though.
Yeah?
Even though you threw it at me, who you got? I know mine.
I think there's a lot. Like I think that the easy one to say is like my parents.
Okay.
You know, they influenced me through my whole childhood. I think my wife is a big influence to me.
Yeah.
But I don't know, like an influence is hard, like especially now, like you have Instagram and all these things, like there's all the influencers
in your
out
life,
there.
Though. No, I understand like videos in your life.
So I think one of the biggest influences that helped me do this 180 and help me put me on this path of growth is the owner of our company, Mark.
Okay, we're on the same page.
You know what I mean?
We're on the same page.
Yeah, so I mean, he really, I came to New Jersey and I think it was 2017, 2018. Yeah. I was driving to Reading for about a year. I was driving back and forth like an hour and a half from Jersey.
Yeah.
I came to this company as, you know, just a bright-eyed kid. Like, I want to grow. I want to work hard. Like, that was always my MO. Was like, look, I'm ready to work. I'm ready to put in the time.
Yeah.
And you know, this company and Mark himself, he really picked that out. Like, he seen me in the crowd and said, all right, this kid will put in the time. Like, and that really showed me that like what I'm doing is right. Like people will notice when you put in the time.
Absolutely.
People will notice when you work hard. And that was really like, obviously other than like my parents, they knew I was a hard worker, but he was the first person that really picked me out and said like, this kid's gonna put in the time, this kid wants to grow. So I think moving to New Jersey, I think he was probably my biggest influence here.
Yeah.
Just to say like, man, what I'm doing is right. Like, me working hard is right. Me putting in the time is right. Like, me willing to sacrifice some time away from my family, some time away from my son. Like, I want my son to have the biggest life possible. And the only way to do that is for me to sacrifice some time away. And I got that, you know, that thought process from him.
Yeah, and I can completely agree with that. From the second I started in this company,
it's crazy, man. It's like the 180 we've been talking about.
It's like he really believes in you. You know, he's a genuine guy. You know, he don't bullshit you at all. Never did me wrong.
A lot of people dislike that about people too, like just being straight, like about things.
Shoot me fucking straight, please.
Yeah, like
hit me straight as it gets.
And
I don't want it to be sideways.
I say it all the time here. Like, I'd rather somebody tell me like, "Yo, you're fucking up," than pat me on the back and say like, "Listen, you'll get it next time." You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, no.
Like, I don't want to like.
You're fucking around. Dude.
All those people that you say you'll get it next time, like. You're not going to get it next time.
You're not going to get it next time. There's no repercussions to you fucking up.
Exactly. And, like, listen, like, the shit don't feel good. You know what I mean? Like, it don't feel good when somebody tells you you're fucking up. Like, it don't... Listen, if I'm a stinky kid, it don't feel good for somebody coming up to me and saying, yo, you fucking stink. You know what I mean? But, like, somebody got to tell you or you're never going to change.
Right, yeah.
And that's the thing is, like, you got to be a straight shooter. You got to tell people how you really feel. And, like, that's how... That really, like, influenced me in my life, too, just because, like, I'm not a quiet kid. I could talk to everybody.
Right.
You know what I mean? But the hardest thing for me was saying, like, those uncomfortable truths. You know what I mean? But, like, the uncomfortable truths are what help grow people. And no matter how upset they get, if they get better from what you're telling them, they will realize that, like,
that uncomfortable truth,
you know what I mean?
Was a plus.
Yeah, like the uncomfortable truth is always a plus.
Yeah.
So how did that influence impact you? Like, you think it gave you a harder work ethic, or like?
You know, he made me kind of believe in myself. You know, he believed in me, and I don't know if he actually believed in me, but he made me feel like he believed in me. Mm-hmm. So I started to believe in myself. Like, yo, I can actually do this.
Yeah, that's a big thing.
I got this. And when somebody believes in you like that, you know, it makes you work harder. It makes you work smarter.
For sure.
Makes you do.
It gives you some self-belief.
Yeah.
Which I think the self-belief puts you to another level. And like I can say, like from the outside looking in, like I feel like you're an easy person to pick out of the crowd, just because like obviously like you're a bigger guy, like you know what I mean. But like you carry yourself like welcoming, and like you can tell like you want to do better and you want better for other people.
Absolutely,
which
I do.
And that's the thing too. Like it's easy to want more for yourself. Everybody wants more for themselves, or so they say. But like you got to be willing to want more for other people. You know what I mean? Like I want to see everybody win.
Everybody around me, I want to see everybody succeed to their full potential.
Exactly.
I want to see it.
Like I got friends, you know, starting businesses and you know, starting companies and things like that. I'm reposting their stuff. They're reposting my stuff. Like, that's reciprocal love. Like, and that's, I think, what helps everybody grow. I'm hoping we have, you know, people on the podcast and they get followers from us. You know what I mean? And people start following their stories and people start, you know, following where they're going. Like, that's the main thing, is just like, you gotta want it's easy to pick out people that are selfish.
It is. It really is.
And one of the reels we posted was like, you know, us saying how like you want to grow and you know you don't want to go out and party, and people can see that as being selfish. Yeah. And I feel like people that see that as being selfish are kind of more selfish to themselves.
They are, absolutely.
Like somebody that gets butthurt about you not wanting to come out and party, like
what are you gonna do?
You know what I mean? Like I'm working on myself. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
So I got a good one here. If money wasn't a factor, what would you do with your time?
Oh my God, let me tell you something. If money was not a factor.
You got all the money. Look, you got all the freedom now. What are you doing? You shooting a podcast next week?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm shooting a podcast probably every day for the rest of my life.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah.
But if money was not a factor, how would that change my life? I would definitely still work every single day.
You think you'd do like a full-time job, like 40 hours a week, or do you think you'd try to just...
Nah, I would definitely go off on my own and, you know, make something work to my hours. You know, I know certain people that only work 6 hours a week, you know?
Yeah, and they're still making a killing.
And make a killing, exactly. So I would definitely try to find something along those terms. But...
You travel, you go...
Oh.
Yeah?
I mean, I would go. There wouldn't be a spot on the earth that I haven't stepped foot in.
We do a mobile podcast.
Yeah.
We'd be...
Yep, for about 3 years straight. We had toured the whole world.
Yeah, we had
every country.
2 years, we'd have like 720 episodes.
Oh yeah.
It would be out
every country in the world.
New podcast every day in a new city every day. That would be dope. So I mean, I guess same thing for me. Like, I would travel. I don't see myself not working. Like, I feel like...
No, I could never not work, because once you stop working, you get lazy.
Yeah.
Once you sit on that couch, if you notice, listen, love my grandpa to death.
Yep.
But once you notice when they sit down on the couch, and that's what they do every single day, everything start going downhill.
Yeah, I mean, I think...
You cannot sit down. You cannot rest. You got to keep going.
The body goes downhill, and then after that, you know, I think the mind goes downhill, and it's just all downhill from there.
And listen, it's a part of life. It happens, but I definitely am going to try to avoid that as long as I can.
Yeah, and I mean, that leads into my next thing. Like, if you won the lottery, what would you do? And I mean, I could say, I think for a good month, maybe 6 months, I probably wouldn't work. You know what I mean? Like, I would enjoy my life. I would get situated. I would travel. I would do all that good stuff.
Yeah.
But I mean, I think at some point, like, listen, you have all that money, you have to set something up for generations and generations and generations to come.
Absolutely.
Because I actually seen something today that said, like, and it's kind of crazy. I mean, I wish I could think about this every day. But if you think about it, like, in 100 years, everybody that you know, everybody that I know is going to be dead. We're going to be buried with our family. We're going to be buried with our friends.
Yeah.
100 years after that, nobody's going to be talking about you.
Nobody knows nothing about
all that stuff you bought, that nice house, somebody else is going to be living in it.
Yeah.
All those clothes you bought are either going to be passed down or thrown out. And it's like, even some of the most influential people, like 200 years, 150 years down the line, like, you're really not going to be remembered. So, like, if you live like, everybody's living like they want to be remembered, and it's like, man, live to be happy. You know what I mean? Like, I think that's the best thing to do at the end of the day is live to be happy.
The hard truth is 90% of people within 20 years are kind of like...
Yeah, I think 99% of people, honestly.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Even just a couple years, 20, 30 years,
like, I
completely forget about people.
Like, I think about it, too. Like, you brought up your grandparents. Like, when my grandparents passed, like, God forbid, I hope it's not anytime soon, but my son's 7 months old. So, like, even his generation will remember them a little bit.
Yeah.
But by the time he has kids, like, they're going to be a super distant memory. And it really isn't that long of a time frame. You know what I mean? That could be 40, 50 years.
Yeah.
And it's like, even if somebody has a huge impact, I feel like they're still, for the most part, like, forgotten. Unless you're like Thomas Jefferson, Ben Franklin, George Washington. You know what I mean? Like, so why is everybody living like... Live to be happy, man. Like, stop living to influence these people or to have an impact on the future. I mean, unless you're sending us to Mars like Elon Musk or something like that, like, you're really not going to be remembered. And it's crazy to think about life that way.
I think Elon got it. I think he'd be remembered for a long time.
Me too. I definitely
if
think...
he dies.
Yeah. That would be a dream podcast episode right there, Elon.
Yeah.
And if we get like the Joe Rogan one, we get him hitting one or something, that would be crazy.
Joe Rogan or somebody like that, that'd be crazy.
But no, I mean, I definitely think like the money gets you the freedom, and the freedom is what, you know, allows you to live that happy life.
Yeah.
And so instead of chasing, you know, that long-term impact, you got to chase, you know, that freedom. And obviously, to get that freedom, you got to chase that money, which means you got to keep working.
Yeah.
Which is the big thing on everything, is like, you got to keep working.
So, hey, what's going on, everybody? It's Jordan over at the Growing Pains Podcast, and I just want to give a big shout out to today's sponsor, Dads for America. Dads for America is a clothing brand founded in 2023 that's here to give thanks to American dads since 1776. Dads for America donates 4% of every purchase to Folds of Honor, which is a charity known for giving back to families of our fallen troops. Here at the Growing Pains Podcast, we believe America is still the greatest country in the world and will continue to support any brand that feels the same way. God bless America. It's time to get back to the show.
Man, shout out to Dads for America. Best sponsor we got. Not because it's the only sponsor we got, but, you know, they're supporting the veterans, so that's always dope. Yeah. We got Don Juan here, man. He came in and smoked a cigar. Said he wanted to get on the podcast. In between episodes, Z had like a half a bottle of tequila, so don't mind him. I'm glad we got Don, though, man. Thank you for stopping by. Thanks for coming on and talking about what we got here the second half. We got a bunch of questions, so it's perfect. The biggest I mean, the first question I got is, what's one of your biggest challenges in life? I'll go to Z first. We talked about it a little bit, so I know where he's going to go with it. But what's your biggest challenge in life, Z?
So my biggest challenge in life is bringing it back to probably the maybe first episode, is breaking out of that shell, doing things that you're not comfortable with doing, you know, and doing them the best way that you can. You know,
yeah, just believing in yourself a little bit, right?
Believing in yourself and just getting it done.
Yeah.
Confidence.
That's it. Just self-belief, too, which goes back to what we said earlier, you know, just like the biggest influences in your life, you know, just somebody telling you you're great or believing in you kind of gives you that self-belief in yourself.
That goes a long way.
For sure. Don, what's one of your biggest challenges that you had?
Biggest challenge that I have is juggling family, work, life, kids.
The balance.
Yeah, the whole balance.
Yeah.
You know, that's a big challenge.
You have how many kids you have?
I have 2 kids.
Yeah. How old are they?
7 and 3. Yeah.
Okay. It's definitely a balance for sure. Then
Yeah,
at seven, they're in school or?
She's in school. Yeah.
Yeah, she's in school. Yeah, that's definitely a challenge too. And that's the thing. Like, you know, everybody wants to have a big life, and I think the biggest thing is it's a juggling act. You know what I mean? You got to sacrifice time away from your family to chase your goals or to chase success and things like that, and you got to be able to juggle that, to have that big life. And, you know, you got to have a family that supports you enough, you know, to say that, you know, they'll give you that time away, that sacrifice that you're giving, you know, to support that life that they're having.
Right.
The second question I got, which, you know, Z doesn't really have any yet, so he says, but what do you think your biggest failure is? You don't have any, Z, or nothing that really sticks out?
My biggest failure.
Haven't came across it yet. What about like things that you've seen other people fail on? That, I mean, I'm sure, like we said earlier, you know, you got to learn from other people's failures and have that awareness.
You definitely got to grow from other people's failures. If you see somebody doing the same thing that you're doing and they're getting reamed out for it, clearly you should not be doing that same thing.
Yeah, that's just a lesson too. I mean, that's more of a lesson, I guess, than a failure. But I mean, you got to have the awareness to see that.
To take it in perspective as a lesson.
Yeah,
really. Yeah,
for sure. What about you, Don? You've had any failures, or we'll say lessons, I guess, not necessarily a failure, but.
There's no failures in life.
Yeah,
no failures.
Sure, everything's a lesson. That's how you gotta look at it too.
Yeah.
That's how you gotta look at it. But is there anything that sticks out for you, Don?
Like we talked about earlier, the grass is not always greener on the other side, you know.
Absolutely.
For sure.
Yeah.
For sure. Yeah.
Yeah. So mine will be when I bought a house here. Wife's pregnant, 7 months pregnant.
You.
First baby, you know. Career is going in the right way, the right directions and stuff like that. But I was asked to move to Florida.
Okay.
For a career path, you know, and I took it. It wasn't.
And you moved to Florida.
I moved to Florida. Left my house, still here.
Yeah.
Packed everything up. My friends helped me move.
How long were you down there in Florida?
I was there for 2 years.
2 years. Okay.
And,
that's a long time.
It is.
It's definitely a long time.
And again, it's not always greener. And end up moving back.
Yeah.
Starting over again. New career. You know, new house.
Yeah.
With a baby now, you know.
Yeah. I think a lot of people too, like they get, like you move to Florida and then you realize, you know, like you said, the grass isn't greener on the other side. A lot of people follow people blindly, but a lot of people too, you know, they make that move and then they live sort of in that misery. You know what I mean? Whereas, you know, you had the strength, the courage to say, you know what, this isn't working out. This isn't where I want to go.
A lot of people don't, man. A lot of people stay stuck in that position.
Yeah,
you cannot stay stuck. You gotta move on.
You gotta break out of it, and I mean, you gotta have, you know, the strength to say, you know, I moved down here, but this isn't right, so I'm gonna move back. So I mean, that's definitely that definitely goes to, you know, what you're made of, and you know, you had the strength to say, this isn't working out. I'm coming back, and I'm sure, you know, somebody at some point said this is a better opportunity for you, but you realize that, hey, this isn't. And you came out. So what is your favorite quote and why? I know Z got a good one. We've been talking about it for a little bit now. What's your favorite quote, Z?
My favorite quote would probably have to be, if you knew you could not fail, how big would you dream? You know, how far would you go if you knew you could not fail? You know, that's
I like that.
That's deep.
I like that. Yeah, and I think too, like, you gotta always think you're not gonna fail. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you
like,
always got to. And then some people get stuck thinking that
you're not gonna make it.
They're not gonna make it.
Yeah.
And then you automatically failed right off the bat.
Yeah, it's like we talked about New Year's resolutions too. Like a lot of people go into their New Year's resolutions saying, you know, I'm gonna work out for the next 30 days. I'm gonna work out for the next 2 months, and it's like that's a lifestyle change. You know what I mean? That's not something that you can just invest.
And let me tell you something. That's difficult, man. That's very hard to do. 99.9% of the people don't do it.
For sure.
But listen, shout out to the 1%ers. You know, if you're doing it, keep doing it.
That's it for sure. I mean, my favorite quote, I've heard one recently that I really like. I have one that I've kind of had my whole life. The one that I've heard recently is, for things to change, you have to change. For things to get better, you have to get better. Like, nobody's going to work out for you. Nobody's going to chase your dreams for you. The only person that's going to chase your dreams is you. Like, nobody else is going to do it for you, so you got to do it yourself. I mean, that's just something that, I mean, we've been talking about it, you know what I mean? We've been talking about it for a while.
Yes,
we've been talking about it every episode. And then, I mean, the quote that I've had pretty much my whole life is, if the sky's the limit, why is there footprints on the moon? You know what I mean? Like, stop shooting for the sky if you can make it to the moon. And that goes for the same thing. Like, you know, if you think you're going to fail, you're going to fail. Like, if you think, you know, the mountaintop is the limit, the mountaintop's the limit, but my limit's always going to be higher, you know what I mean? Because I'm thinking I'm going to make it to the moon, and you're thinking you're going to make it to the mountaintop.
And then once we get to the moon, we going for Mars.
That's it. That's it. I love it. And what about you, Don? You got any good quotes that, you know, you like or you live by?
Yeah, there's one I heard recently. It says, it's kind of like a quote / speech, you know what I mean?
Okay.
If you have someone to give you 80. Fuck.
Go ahead.
It was at $86,400 a day.
Okay.
Yeah. Right. $86,400 a day. And someone comes and take $40 from you. Or even $100, even a couple $1,000 from you.
I'm stepping on their neck for that.
Well, there you go. Well, let me ask you that. Would that really hurt?
Yeah, that would hurt me.
Really?
Absolutely.
I don't think so.
Absolutely. I'm stepping on their neck for that.
$86,400 a day. Every day.
$86,400 a day, yes.
Free.
Right? And then they want to come and take $400. They better have a great reason on why they're taking that $400 from me.
That's a donation on my side. You know what I mean? I'm donating that $400. You know what I mean?
Think about this, right?
Yeah.
Don't let that stop you. Because you still got $86,000.
Right.
Yeah.
Every day. So don't let that $40 or $4,000, whatever, stop you from doing what you're doing, because you still get that every day.
I can agree with that.
So imagine that is time.
Yeah.
So that's how much time you have in a day. 86,400 minutes.
Yeah.
So don't let that 40 minutes or that hour or that 10 minutes stop you from achieving that time.
Yeah, I like that.
Because that's part of your day. So don't let them stop you. Don't let that person, that something, that wherever it is, stop you from doing what you're doing.
Right.
Yeah, you still have all that other. You still have all that other money or all that other time.
Don't waste that time on the little petty shit.
Right.
While you can make more.
I like that.
Absolutely.
Every single day.
You make another 86,000.
Exactly.
The next day. It's coming every day.
Yeah.
And I heard something too recently that was it was basically the same thing, but it was, you know, don't stress out something. Don't stress out something that takes 10 minutes right now if it's not going to affect you in 5 years.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Don't argue over something that's going to be a 10-minute argument now if it's not going to affect you in 5 years. So, I mean, you always got to think the long term, you know what I mean? So that definitely goes to that.
Absolutely.
We're going to get into something that we haven't gotten into so far. You know, so this is all going to be new. The podcast cut out 3 times so far. So we're going to get into the second half of this. And this is actually a quote that I wrote down, so I'll get your aspects on it. But missing out on temporary fun to build permanent stability is not missing out on at all. So what do you think about that, Z? You know, missing out, that's like your friend, you know, asked you to go out last night drinking or something like that, but you got the podcast to go to today.
It literally happened last night, and let me tell you something. When you want something to do good and you're fully invested in something, you know, that's on your main focus. That's what you want to do. I was offered to go out last night. I wanted to go out last night.
Want to go out every night.
But I knew I had to be up early to do this podcast, and I was here, you know, I was ready to go, and here we are.
Yeah, no, that's what you gotta have. Like we've been saying, I mean, on every episode, it's like the mental fortitude, where like a lot of people, you know, will fold to that peer pressure or you know, whatever. Like,
I almost did.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Like that's something that's interesting. You know what I mean? Let me go out tonight. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, and a lot of people will say, "Let me go out tonight. I'll wake up tomorrow morning for it," and then they oversleep.
I knew I was not getting up. That's why I didn't go
and
out.
that's the mental fortitude. So I don't know if you want to comment on that, Don. But again, I said missing out on temporary fun to build permanent stability is not missing out at all. How do you feel about that? You agree?
100%. Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, it's pretty. I mean, I don't know who wouldn't agree on that. Probably, I guess, the people that just want to party all the time and they don't got anything going on. But and I'll go back to Z's quote. I mean, how big would you dream if you know you can never fail? I mean, like I said,
How big would you dream, Jordan?
I think
Like let me hear something so out of the ordinary that wouldn't make sense to the general mind, but if you knew you couldn't fail,
Yeah.
would you do it?
I think I'm looking at the podcast like we can't fail, to be honest. Like I've been saying, I mean, look, we get 30, 40, 50 episodes in. We're only, I mean, look, we got some hype right now. We're getting 3,000
Yeah,
views a
do.
video. You know what I mean? People
Got a
are
little bit of
interested
hype
in it,
going,
but
yeah.
you know, listen, they listen to the first 2-3 podcasts and they're not interested. That could go down quick to 100, 200 views. But that one podcast that pops off and you get, you know, 100,000.
We gotta stay consistent. We gotta stay consistent.
That's it. And if you go in thinking you're gonna fail, you're gonna fail. I said it earlier, and it's like you need that one. Like, listen, I made music when I was younger. You have that one hit, and you're
One
good.
hit,
You know what I
yes,
mean?
yeah.
You have that one.
one hit wonder.
You have that one line that can be a caption on Instagram.
You can build your whole career off
That's
that
it.
one line.
Listen, Bobby Schmurder threw his hat into the air, and he's famous
and
forever.
he's famous forever off
That's
that.
it. So
yeah.
that's all it takes is just that one thing. But no, I mean, if you can dream that big, I mean,
Yeah.
I'm sure you feel the same way. You know, you gotta have that idea that you're not gonna
and
fail.
homelessness.
Yeah.
End it.
Yeah.
That's it.
That's
you know,
it.
put everybody in an apartment at very least.
Yeah.
And it's something that I know the government can do. They just don't do it.
Yeah.
You know.
Z's getting deep. Z always
I am
gets
getting
deep.
I'm
So
a
Z,
half a bottle of tequila deep.
but Z wrote down a couple things here that we're gonna get into too. Which we spoke a little bit about it earlier about just people believing you and Don, you weren't here, but we did say how it's crazy how you can tell your family and your friends your dreams, and you know most of them won't believe in you, most of them will laugh at you, but you know once you make it, they wanna be beside you while you're popping bottles. You know what I mean? They want to be beside you while you're in the club.
They want to be beside you, but all the good. You know.
Yeah, like basically what we said was like, you know, we're reposting a lot of things right now. We're posting a reel a day. We're posting a podcast a day. Whatever we're posting, there's a lot of people, and I want to shout all of them out that are reposting it and sharing
Absolutely.
it. But there's a lot of people that aren't.
Greatly appreciated.
Yeah, there's a lot of people that aren't. Some of my best friends, some of Z's best friends aren't reposting
You're absolutely
our things.
right. And listen, let me tell you something. Don't ask to come to the club when everything's all good. Don't ask.
That's it. But no, I don't know if you can speak on that. I mean, I know you've had, you know, successes and failures that we spoke of, but there's people that, you know, are beside you. There's a couple of your friends here now. I mean, I know they're beside you right now. So,
always.
but I know there's some people, I'm sure, that when you were growing and you were getting into your successes that weren't there beside you. You know what I mean? And it stinks. You know what I mean?
It definitely
especially when it's like your family. I mean, you can tell your family your dreams, and it's like, you know what? Some people's families just settled down. You know what I mean? They got comfortable. And the hardest thing.
You tell them your dream that's a little bit out of reality, and
their reality.
Their reality.
It's out of
right.
their reality.
And they think that it's a joke or something. It's dead serious. You know. I bet you when Elon Musk said, "Oh, I'm going to be the top electric car producer in the world," you know, I guarantee you his family laughed at him. You know, but look at him now.
Exactly.
Killing it.
Right.
That's it. And I think you always gotta dream above, you know, your family. Like, look, when I was growing up, I didn't have a ton. You know what I mean? My dad worked multiple jobs. My mom was traveling the country working just to provide.
Yep.
And you know, we were still going through some struggles. I remember I was 13, 14 years old, and my mom, she had a brand new Hyundai Santa Fe, and one morning the Santa Fe was gone. And I didn't know what was going on. You know, I look back at it now, the car got repoed.
Right.
You know what I mean? My family was busting their ass.
You don't know that.
They
type
were
of stuff
busting
when
their
you're
ass.
young.
And I remember I was probably 16, 17 years old. I remember my dad told me he finally made $100,000.
Yeah.
He finally made it. That was what he was making. And I thought that was Listen, I thought we made it.
Right,
You know what I mean? I'm 16,
Oh, yeah.
17 years old. I'm making $12, $11 an hour. You know what I mean? I'm thinking, holy
Fast
shit.
forward to today,
now
you
to
make
today.
$100,000. You're broke still.
Yeah, and it's crazy. It's just like the level of like, I don't know, the thought, I guess. Like, I thought I thought we made it. You know what I mean? And we were still struggling. You know what I mean? And then come to, I moved to New Jersey. I started making money, and now I'm like, man, you know what I mean? That's not shit. You know what I mean? I understand why we were in the position we were in when I was growing up, but you got to dream beyond that. You know what I mean? I could have got stuck. I could have got stuck in the mind frame of, holy shit, 150,000, I'm rich. You know what I mean? And I think,
And listen, you can live a great life off that, but you know your worth. You know your worth.
And that's one thing, Don, we've been talking about a lot too, is like, a lot of people settle down. A lot of people, they see their family make 100,000, they see their family make 150,000, and they think, that's where life is good, and for some people, that is life is good. You know what I mean? But if you dream
really
beyond that,
sometimes though.
For sure.
Some people are content and okay with that lifestyle.
And I think the biggest thing that bothers me is, the people that get content with their life, and then they get upset at other people that are living beyond that. You know what I mean?
A must be nice type of person.
Yeah, like if I got content at whatever I'm making, and then I see Don driving a Ferrari, and I say, oh man, why has he got that Ferrari? He don't deserve that. But he's seen the aspect of
he worked hard enough for that.
He
did
grow,
that.
You can grow further.
Yeah.
And I got a couple fun questions in here. So we'll go into them because we're getting a little deep. Like I said, Z drank a little bit too much tequila. But I'll go with Don. So if money was not an option, what car would you drive? I know you got a nice car now, but I know you drive something a little nicer than that, right?
I know mine for sure.
So I always wanted, since I was a kid, a GTR, right?
Okay, yeah.
So I always wanted a GTR. I want to name it Walker.
Walker?
Okay. You walk in these cars.
yeah. So, again, like Jordan, just like you, we grew up pretty poor.
Yeah.
I came to the U.S. when I was 6 years old.
Okay.
With mom, dad, and 3 brothers, right? One is a baby.
Yeah.
We never seen snow before in our life.
Really?
Never had snow in I'm from Vietnam, of course. Shout out Vietnam.
You probably still ain't
shout out Vietnam, yeah.
So I'm telling you right now, like, we came over with $100 in our pocket, $100.
Yep.
In 1991, right?
Yeah.
And I had to take care of 3 brothers when my mom and dad worked. Speak zero English.
Yeah.
So we came here, and it was like winter, and I had a short sleeve shirt on. And I remember this day very well.
Yeah.
And we never seen snow. We never saw snow on the ground before, and so we came up with nothing.
Yeah.
Stayed at a sponsor house for a couple months, and so on and so forth. It's a long story for another podcast.
Yeah, for sure.
When I grew up, I wanted a GTR.
Yeah.
I wanted it so bad.
Yeah.
So my screensaver was a GTR. Poster GTR, and that's what I look at every day.
That's a good way. That's a good motivation.
Yeah,
right
that's
there.
awesome.
You
No,
wake
that's
up and you see the same thing every day.
Yeah,
and you're
too, and I
striving for that.
I think if anybody watches this podcast too, I think Don himself is a motivation. You know what I mean? Like he said,
he
came over here, he took care of his siblings, and I mean now he's doing big things in his life.
Yeah.
And no, I mean that's the whole point of this podcast, man. Like I was thinking about it the other day too, like. All I want to do, all I want to be is a motivation. All I want to do is motivate people.
Yes.
And I mean, a story like that, I mean, I definitely think that's a motivation to anybody that's in, that seat right now. Like I'm sure in 1991, obviously podcasts, Instagrams, things like that weren't as big. But if you've seen somebody, that came from that and now they're in, a position that you're in, that gives you hope, that gives you a motivation.
Right. Anybody could do it, what I mean?
That's what I mean.
I got a GTR if anybody want to know.
Yeah, you got it. Hold on. We need to get a little bit of details about that. When did you buy the GTR?
I bought it in 2013.
2013. What year is the GTR?
2013.
So it was new when he got it.
Right.
It was new when he got it.
Brand new when you got it.
Cash money, bro. Pay cash.
That's it.
Yeah. But my dream car is a Koenigsegg.
Koenigsegg?
Yeah.
Okay.
Koenigsegg.
All right. That's a badass car.
Always wanted Koenigsegg. So that's gonna be my goal.
That's the next one you're gonna get then.
Yeah, that's the next one.
I'm going to get it.
You got the first goal.
Yep.
Now you got to get to the second one.
Sky's the limit right now.
Sky's the limit.
Moon's the limit.
There
Yeah, there's levels to it. So Z, I think I know what you're gonna say. But what if money wasn't an option? What car would you drive?
I'm driving that big body Lamborghini Urus.
Yeah.
Okay.
As many people may know me, I'm 6'7", 350 pounds. I don't fit in a sports car.
Yeah, I appreciate
I need a luxury car.
I appreciate you sitting lower in that chair because I'm looking at this and
I'm
average
like
size
with
the same
y'all.
size, you know what I mean? But if we stand up.
Stand up, Zach.
Let's see. Where are we at here? We're going to go out of frame. Look, me and Don are in the frame.
I'm way out. I'm way out.
Look at that. Z ain't even in the frame.
I'm way out. But that Lamborghini Urus, that I'm not gonna say I wish. I'm gonna say it is coming home with me one day.
I like it.
I will make it happen. I'm super excited for that day.
I love it. I think it's gonna come too. I hope I'm in the passenger seat while we're
as
driving
well.
down. That's
What
it.
color, Zach?
You gotta go to yellow, right?
Listen,
Right?
listen. I'm a huge fan of yellow. Yellow's my
That yellow
biggest
Lamborghini,
fan.
man.
But let me tell you something. Something about that white is incredibly clean.
Yeah.
So I seen something. I don't know if you've seen it yet. If not, I'll show you. You know, once we're done shooting. But somebody just made the two-door Urus.
Oh.
Did
There's
not
a-
see that.
There's
I'll
a
have to check that out.
manufacturer that does like all these specialty cars. He made it in the Nipsey blue. The interior's all baby blue.
Yeah.
And I think next podcast you're gonna change your answer. I think for myself, I would definitely go with a McLaren. I don't know, man. I think I see them. I don't know. I think there's a red one that I really like. Red with black accents.
Yeah.
And I just think, I haven't seen too many of them.
You know, and it's crazy because I love the sports cars, man, but they don't make them fat friendly. They don't make them fat friendly.
Yeah, no, listen,
my head up in a wall like this. You know what I mean?
I'm a small guy, man. I think the McLaren, man, me and my wife.
Yeah.
I don't
You
know,
look good in a
I can't take my
McLaren.
son in that, you know what I mean? But me and my wife driving down,
this is
Ocean
nice
Boulevard,
dinners.
I think Ocean Drive, I think that would be
Rodale
nice.
Drive or something.
Yeah, Rodale.
If you get the P1 has 3 seats.
Yeah?
Yeah, center.
Put my
left
son in
and
the
right.
middle?
No, the driver's in the center.
Okay.
The passenger side is the left and the right side.
There we go.
Yeah.
I take it. Listen, I think we're going to get there one day, one of these podcasts, maybe episode 200. Z will be in the Urus. I'll be pulling up with the McLaren. We'll have a couple vlogs ready for it.
Absolutely.
We'll have Don come through.
Don Juan,
No,
Koenigsegg.
we're bringing Don. Don's coming through in the GTR, that original dream car. You know what I mean? Just to show people that dream's a thing. So I got
dream.
back to if money wasn't an option. Like, I know you said you moved down to Florida. You moved back. We're here in New Jersey, South Jersey. If money was not an option, where would you live?
Me?
Go for it.
I would live totally out the way. Nobody would ever hear from me, see from me.
You build a bunker? End of the world bunker, Z?
Not an end of the world bunker, but definitely a mansion in the woods somewhere. I don't want no neighbors. Just family and friends only. That's it.
I'm allowed to come?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
You're fucking family.
I'm invited to the spot. I like it.
Your family.
All right, what about you, Don? Where would you go if money wasn't an option? Where would you live?
Man,
Back to the homeland?
well, I am going back to the homeland when I retire.
Yeah.
Are you?
House built
Okay.
already. House and car right there already.
No
Okay.
shit.
Yeah,
Okay.
That's ready for me. But
Okay.
I would go to Puerto Rico.
Puerto Rico?
Yeah,
That's a beautiful place.
Like
I've
Jake
been there.
Paul.
Yeah,
I've been
exactly.
there. It's beautiful. Beautiful.
I think, I don't know, I would love to go to Dubai. I don't think I could live that lifestyle,
Nah,
for a long time.
Right.
I definitely think that would be a cool spot. I think if money wasn't an option, I'd move down to Texas, get a ranch, have a farm and things of that aspect, you know what I mean? Some, like Yellowstone, you know what I mean? But I don't want to be in the cold weather. I want to be where it's warm all the time, you know what I mean? I think my wife would love that. I'd love to raise some kids around, like a ranch, some animals and things like that. Like you said, I think I would want to be out of the way.
Out of the way, man.
Especially
I want to get out the way.
if money's not an option, you know what I mean? Like, you don't want, people around you, with all that money and all that. So, we're coming into the end of the year. You know what I mean? How do you feel about 2023? What do you think, your
2024 or
growth?
2023?
2023, just this past year. We'll look on the past and then we'll kind of go to 2024, what your goals are and things like that. But I know you got some good things for 2023, Don, but we'll go to Z. What do you think, Z? How was 2023 for you?
2023 was great for me. to be honest with you, I stayed pretty stagnant this year.
Yeah.
I didn't get a lot done that I wanted to get done, but that's because the economy and the way things are going in life right now. It's hard to do shit right now. You can't buy shit right now.
Yeah, I think
you can't buy anything.
You gotta appreciate small steps though.
Yeah,
too. You know what I mean?
and
Not
listen, I definitely made some small steps, but the bigger steps that I really wanted to take this year, I wasn't able to.
Yeah.
Which is fine. They just moving on to 2024's years. You know, I need to get it done in 2024.
That's it. I know, Don, you've had a big 2023.
Yeah.
You came to the company this year. I know you made some big changes. So how was your 2023 to you?
Oh man, like again, being stagnant and being in the same position all the time. You know, I mean, you get to hear some horror stories about the company that we at right now, which is so untrue, by the way. If anybody's listening to this,
For sure.
Not
We talk about it all the
Great
time,
company.
man. Great company.
Great company, great owner, great.
For sure.
Everything's great. But big move. Joined a new company after 5 years of being in the same company for 5 years.
Yeah, it's a big move for sure.
Big move. Company, house, you name it. But
Put it on the line.
Yeah, it was big though. It was scary at first. Joining a company that you only hear about.
Right.
And being able to be part of the family now is a big move for 2023.
For sure.
I
And
love it.
it goes back to, having the courage and having the strength to make that move. A lot of people get
Haters. We talk about
sure.
Family, friends, people that you think is on your side the whole time.
Never thought that they would hate, but man,
and they do.
Hate.
And the minute you join this company, then all these people start coming out. Oh, why this? I don't want to curse in
You
front
can
of
curse it. I don't give a shit. I love it.
There you go. There you go.
I love this company, and it's been great, and that's a good 2023.
No, we appreciate you, man. I'm happy you came. It's been great. I think we've been growing, as a company.
Yeah.
But beyond that too is just, you made the decision to make that move where, even if you're moving from, I don't know, say you're moving from Apple to Microsoft, like big companies. A lot of people would rather just stay comfortable where they are rather than, take that step, and maybe you're not going to have the growth, but you take the opportunity where, the growth is possible.
You really took that step
this
year.
I did.
And that's very...
You did. No, I think I could probably say the same thing for Z. I think 2023 for me was probably a little stagnant. I mean, look, I started a brand. I got my LLC. I did some things behind the scenes.
I don't think that it was really us, though. I mean, I know that we gave it our all, but, everything else in the world was not in our favor this year. And next year is a strong year.
Yeah, next year, election year, like I said earlier, it's going to be it's definitely going to be a crazy year. I think things always happen crazy during election years.
Yes, it does.
But I think 2023, I think it was a lot of behind the scenes stuff. I think the last 2 months of the year we're ending strong. We're starting a podcast. You know what I mean? I got this brand. I got the LLC and things like that. Obviously, I had my son this year, so it was a great year for me.
It's a fantastic year.
Became a father, but 2024. I got something on here. I want to talk about the podcast goals and things like that. But how do you see 2024 going for you, Don? Just a year of growth, or every year, right?
Yeah, every year, but be better than what I was last year. Or this year coming up.
Every year, right? You got to think that every year.
Think better, do better.
Yeah.
Provide for my family, make stuff happens. Make stuff that you never think is going to happen.
For sure, for sure. That's every year. What about you, Z? 2024. I know you talked a couple episodes about getting that second property.
Yes, absolutely. 2024, buy another rental property. Make that happen this year. Like I said, this year was stagnant. Interest rates through the roof.
7%.
House prices through the roof. It's no good right now. You don't buy a house.
It's correcting itself a little bit so far. I've been seeing house prices dropping a little bit.
They have been. Yes, absolutely.
Listen,
I'm on it every day.
And the thing is, too, like a high interest rate really isn't that bad as long as the house prices drop, because you can always
refinance.
You can always refinance the interest rate, but you can never refinance the price that you owe the bank.
Exactly.
And a lot of people get stuck on, that interest rate. But, look, if house prices drop, it's going to be the best time to buy for people moving forward.
If I could find a house right now for a decent price, regardless of the interest rate, I'm buying it.
Pulling the trigger, that's it. And you got to know, the thing is, too, like we said, you got to have somebody around you that knows the real estate. Like, I know you know real estate, but
I'm on my 5th house. So
there you go.
Yeah,
you gotta have people.
That's awesome.
You gotta have people that know the market too. Like I mean, you've been looking at it, so you know that prices are slowly going down.
They have been going down.
But if you don't look at it and you just say, oh my God, this house is a great price, and you go for it, you don't really know where the market's at.
Just because the house prices are dropping, that does not mean that people are taking less for their house.
For sure.
You know, they still want those high prices, but it's just not happening this year.
Gotta be reality based, right?
Yeah, absolutely. 2024, yeah.
I think 2024 is gonna be a great year. I think I'm gonna keep trying to build a brand. I'm gonna keep trying to build the podcast.
I'm on this podcast for sure.
Obviously, at work, I'm gonna keep being the best I can be. I know we're gonna have a year of growth in 2024 at the company. I can say that for sure. I know some things are coming.
Yes.
But no, I mean, I think I'm just gonna keep trying to grow. Podcast goals for 2024. I want to say I'm going to throw something out there. We're going to have an episode a week.
We're going
to have 52 episodes. I want to say I want to have 50 guests next year. So that's almost every week. That might be a little far-fetched.
Yeah.
But that's my goal, is to get 50 guests. I mean, I know we got one lined up. I'm keeping Don as a guest, so we got one for 2023.
Yeah. Don first of many.
I definitely want to try and get 50 guests and, just grow from there. I mean, look, we're going to have some friends on. Just people from, we have some friends from Rhode Island. I have some friends from Reading. I have some friends from North Philly. I have some friends that can put different aspects, in here on how they grew up and what shaped, their belief. And that's the whole goal for the podcast.
A lot of people will be able to relate to the different scenarios and different growths that people are coming from.
For sure.
So.
Everybody got a different angle on life, like you said, Don. I mean, you moved here when you were young, so your outlook on life is going to be a lot different from somebody that grew up here, their whole life. One thing that we talked about on the last podcast is just like struggle, which I'll go back to that. I think everybody needs a little bit of struggle in their life, and it's hard for me. I'm sure it's hard for you with having your kids. I mean, obviously you don't want to see your kids struggle, but I think that kind of gives the grit into people. Like I don't want to see my son struggle, but I think he's going to need a little struggle in his life just to have that strength. And I don't know how you give that to or show that to your kids. Maybe you just tell them your story, but I definitely think struggle is a big thing, which hopefully in 2024 we don't have any struggle.
Right. But we need struggle to grow.
Yeah,
for sure. And that goes to like the trials and tribulations and watching other people. Look, I think the best way to grow is to watch other people fail rather than feel them failures yourself.
Right.
It hits a little different when you fail, though.
Yeah, for sure.
It definitely hits a little different. I mean, me personally, I get extremely motivated when I'm failing horribly.
Yeah.
Because you want to prove everybody wrong.
That's it. Yeah. That's it. I mean, it gives you that determination to keep growing and saying especially something that I learned at the company we're at is there was a period of time where I thought I was doing great. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
I thought I was doing great. And somebody comes in and basically smacks you upside the head and makes you realize, like, I'm doing everything wrong. Like, And luckily we work at a company where, we have people that are going to, take you from that path you're on and make you do that 180. And turn it around and make you better, which is something that we talked about before you had came in, is just... the 180 from being sad is being happy.
Right.
Yes.
The 180 from struggling is succeeding, and the hardest thing for people to do is that 180. And hopefully anybody that's sad, anybody that's struggling in 2024 can do that 180.
Yeah.
But look, I think we did great here. I'm glad we got in the booth today, Z.
Yes,
I'm glad you came by, Don. But that's going to wrap it up for today.
Yes, sir.
Shout out to the Growing Pains Podcast. Shout out to Don. Shout out to Big Z.
Shout out to Dads for America, our only sponsor as of right now.
Yeah, we're going to get some more. They're killing it. And we're lining up that live podcast now. I'm in some talks right now to get us at a bar. Don, we're going to have a live podcast at a bar, a local bar in South Jersey. 10% of all the drink purchases, the drink that we put out there is going to get donated to Folds of Honor.
Yes.
That's the same brand that Dads for America donates to. So we're going to donate to them, which is goes to veterans' families, fallen veterans. But that's something big we have coming, man. Shout out to everybody that's following us on Growing Pains Podcast with 2 T's on Instagram. We're going to keep posting. We're going to keep coming. And until next time, man, we love you all. I appreciate you guys.
Like and share.
There it is.
Like and share.
I love it. Thank you guys. Until next time.